I believe you can never have enough royal icing transfers. I love these little sugar decorations, and they're perfect for not only for cookie decorating, but also you can use them for cakes, cupcakes, macarons, and other desserts. Hi, it's Hani here. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. In this video, we're going to make Valentine's Day royal icing transfers. So without further ado, let's dive right in. Here are the colors I'm going to be using, and you're also going to need transfer sheets. These you can get in my digital shop. I'm putting a link in the description box so you guys can check those out. We're going to start by making simple hearts. Before I discuss the piping consistency, I just want to tell you what you need to do before you pipe anywhere. You need to put your transfer sheet into a smooth, transparent protector sheet, or you can also place a piece of wax paper or parchment on top of the transfer sheet. Just make sure that it's secured on this transfer sheet with some masking tape or something like that, so it's not shifting as you're trying to pipe. I'm using about 20 to 25 second consistency royal icing here, and as you probably noticed already, I'm doing the heart in 2 steps. So I'm piping first half, and then I'm starting with a large dot, and as I come towards the bottom tapered end, I decrease the pressure on my piping bag and I slowly pull away. And if that line between 2 halves is persistent, you can use your scribe tool and very lightly agitate the icing, and it's going to come together, forming this beautiful heart shape. You can let these dry, and then you can actually use these as part of the transfers we're going to make further. The mini hearts you can use on envelopes if you don't have heart sprinkles. Those work really, really well. So let these dry, and then you can decide you can pop these on another transfer. Now we're going to make the envelopes. I'm starting with 20 second consistency royal icing here, piping a fairly narrow outline and then filling it with the same consistency. Use your scribe tool, accentuate the corners, and after this you're gonna have to let the icing crust really well, or if you have time you can let it dry before you add all the little details with piping consistency royal icing. If you're struggling with piping consistency, maybe you can make it slightly softer, like a soft piping consistency, so you don't get that spike at the end of the line. Now we're going to make an open envelope. So again, start by outlining, follow the outline with your piping bag, and then fill that with icing. You can make these in different colors. I'm going with pretty classic white, but these are really nice in different colors as well. Let those shapes crust, and then again you can add pipe details to finish this envelope design. And if you'd like, you can embellish these with those cute little hearts we made in the previous segment. Now we're going to make flower bouquets. These look like ice cream cones, but they're going to be flower bouquets. I'm starting with brown royal icing, again about 20 second consistency. And to make the flowers, we're going to use different colors of kind of pink and red. But let me show you how to cut the leaf tip. This is a different style of a leaf tip. It looks like a petal tip. You want to cut it so the long end of the beveled cut is where the seam is. So with the seams facing ceiling, we're going to pipe the leaves first, and then we can add the flowers. For the leaves, I'm using piping consistency royal icing. You can see my icing is not really spreading that much, and by moving the piping bag in the middle of the leaf, I'm creating kind of like a dent, like a vein in the leaf, and that's staying. So my icing is thick enough so it supports this shape. If it's too runny, it's going to spread all over the place. Alright, let's make more leaves on this side. I'm going to let this crust again. This decoration takes a bit more time because of the crusting time. You want to let each little area crust before you add the adjacent area. So here I'm making first flowers. Let those crust before adding anything that's sitting immediately next to it, so you can retain that nice definition. And my flower shapes are also about 20 to 25 second consistency. Now we're gonna add to the bottom. So I'm piping another outline here, partially covering the first triangle we made. And while I'm doing these shapes, my flowers are crusting. So just remember that by the time you're done with the last shape, the first shape is probably already crusted, so you can start with the next step. You can leave the flowers as they are, or if you'd like to, you can also add another detail, but this has to be done after everything dries. So in 8 to 12 hours, you can use edible markers and add like a zigzag line onto each flower. Now we're going to make coffee mugs. These can be made with so many different colors, and these are great for a lot of different seasons, not just for Valentine's Day. But for the Valentine's Day, we're going to make them in beautiful, bright colors. You can also add some wet on wet hearts or polka dots. So now you want to pipe 3 hearts with the same consistency as your base, so you can do the wet on wet and run the scribe tool through the middle of the dot, creating a heart shape. You can also add just the standard polka dots. When doing the polka dots, I like to start with the first line, usually in the middle of the shape, and then I stagger the dots based off that middle line. Now we can add the handle. To make the handle, use about piping consistency royal icing and try to overlap it slightly with the main shape. Now we can add the swirl, use piping consistency icing. And now we can add tiny little heart sprinkles. If you have these, you can add those. Use tweezers for easy handling. And there. And now, probably the most popular, I guess, after the hearts, lips. So these are open lips. So we're going to do these in 2 steps. Upper lip and bottom lip, or bottom lip and upper lip. You can also fill these completely for a full like a lip royal icing transfer, but if you'd like to, you can also keep them like this with partially open mouth. Make these in variety of different colors. Let these dry completely. Remember that it's very important when working with transfers to let these dry completely on a flat surface, and then you can easily remove them. If you are new to transfers and cookie decorating, you can find a full tutorial with all the details, how to make transfers, different transfers, how to use them, and how to store them on my blog, hanielas.com. I'm going to put a link, direct link, in the description box under this video. Now I'm doing a speech bubble. These are great because you can leave these empty and let them dry, and then you can add your cute little messages right with edible markers on top of the icing. And again, I'm using about 20-second consistency royal icing. Agitate the icing carefully to smooth it, and then you can let these dry. Now this is another alternative for the envelope, more complicated. We're going to do each section individually, and just like with the flower bouquets, you have to let each section crust before adding the adjacent section. This way you're going to achieve really nice definition. But I have to warn you, these do take some time. So if you are short on time, just do the rectangles and add the pipe details after the icing crust. And also, if you're looking for royal icing, yeah, I'm going to put a link to royal icing I like to use in the description box under the video. You can find a full recipe here on my YouTube channel, and I also have several recipes for royal icing on my blog, depending on the ingredients that you can use. If you don't have access to meringue powder, you can use fresh egg whites, or you could even use pasteurized egg whites from a carton. Now we're going to make like a gem, or what else? Yeah, I wouldn't want to say a diamond. It's not a diamond, but let's call it a gem, hard gem. So I'm starting with outline using piping consistency icing and a number 2 piping tip, and I colored my royal icing with nice ivory to give it that gold feel. You can also use gold yellow icing, and then what we're going to fill it with 2 different consistencies of icing. First one is to make sure that my top layer is not gonna sink in, and I'm building the height basically. And now with about 20-second consistency royal icing, I'm piping over this first layer. And to give this icing some shine and shimmer, I'm going to use edible jewel dust. You have to apply it right away, so while the icing is still wet. And then we're going to wait for the icing to crust, so we can come in. For the next step, you can use rounded paintbrush or a dotted tool, and just very lightly press that in, break that crust, creating this lovely gem texture. These are super simple hearts with a star tip, thick consistency royal icing. Again, starting with first half, second half, and when you're piping these, you kind of want to tuck that first line of icing under, so you're going a little forward. Here we are basically repeating what we did with the gem heart, so starting with the outline, but now I'm just going to fill it with red icing, and then we're going to make the keyhole. To make the keyhole, you want to pipe a small round and then attach a little triangle to this round and then shape it with a scribe tool. We also need a key. So to make the key, I'm using a piping tip PME 1.5, a slightly smaller tip than number 2. Now we can pipe the teeth, and then all we have to do is add red icing in the middle, and that can be about 20-second consistency, and then we are done with these transfers. Once these are dry, you can remove them from the acetate and use them for your next cookie decorating project. Again, all these transfers and more are available in my digital shop. I'm putting a link in the description box under the video. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Thank you so much for watching. If you are new to my YouTube channel, Hanielas, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell button so you get notified about my new uploads, and I will see you next time.